Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Mario Arnolds a massive, lekker, warm round of applause, man. Whew. Ek is glad moeg gedans. Come on, can I see the flags up in the air? Ladies and gentlemen, scream PMC! Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there's still some people. We've got a lot of space here in the middle. Die in the back, die valstoele daar, soos plek nog daar. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our community meeting. First of all, for the welcoming, we call upon Basil Jacobs. Let's give Basil a massive round of applause. Wave those PMC flags, ladies and gentlemen. Wave those PMC flags.
Goedemiddag, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. On the 1st of May 2023, it's definitely going to be something different here. Het moet iets anders wees. Ons moet 'n roering in die plek kry. Because we're going to change this country. Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Okay, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Basil Jacobs. I'm the deputy president of a party called the Concerned Drakensberg Residents, CDR. I'm currently a councillor in the local municipality Drakensberg. We're the biggest municipality outside of the metro. But I want to welcome you today. Today we've got lots of dignitaries here from different political parties. We've got pastors, religious leaders from different denominations. But the most important for today is we've got you here today. Because if you want to create a movement in this country, we need the people. And only the people that can take this country forward. So I want to welcome everybody. I'm going to start on my right-hand side. This is Ms. Yumna. Let's put your hand together for Ms. Yumna. We've got Mr. Anger. Now this gentleman used to be a principal. He is currently the SG of Codetta and the deputy chairperson of the Western Cape Santaco. Put your hands together for Mr. Anger. And then on that side, we've got Ms. Sheila. She's a vibrant young woman, passionate about women activities. So let's welcome Ms. Sheila. And last but not the least, let's welcome one of the greatest colored leaders that South Africa has produced. Let's put our hands together for Marius Fransman. So what's important, today you must listen, you must give your input, because it must come from the ground up and not from top down. That's why we're here today. But first, let me ask Mr. Basil Kutsi, if he's here, can you please move to the front? Lisa Loopse, can you please come and move to the front here? Billy Klaasen, if you're here, move to the front. We want our speakers to be in the first 2 rows. Chris. Christian Bennett, Chief Regan James, Gideon Krotz, Advocate Rod Solomons, Alfreda Busak, Marina Jefte, Nihas, are you here? Setu, are you here? Edgar Arendse, Fadil Adams,
Polank, Pogoto.
That's it. Puleng, can you please move to the front? Gava Samuels, Santiago Oppold, Ivan Hesqua, Raymond Fransman, Lucinda Evans, Pastor Patrick Maketa, and Reverend Randall Peterson. Can you just please move to the front? So I want you guys to feel welcomed. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But now I'm going to invite Yumna to the front, please, to introduce our pastors so that we can start this ceremony in the right way.
Thank you, sir. If I say PMC, then you say chains. PMC for? PMC for? PMC for? That's the spirit. And I have to say, it lyk prachtig van die bo af. Well, I am Yuna, best known as Lady U, running an NGO, an international NGO called Pan-Africa Young Women Development Initiative. We're all about chains. Well, I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to call forth Bishop David and Shumal Gous just to do the prayer for us. Thank you. Are they in our midst? Bishop? Can we have an indication if Bishop and Mr. Gous, thank you, Bishop is on his way. Is Mr. Gous in the house? Come on, people, we're too quiet. We're about to see change happening in South Africa. We are too quiet. Can I hear you one more time? PMC for? PMC for? PMC for? That's the spirit. And now we're going to pray for change. Thank you, Bishop.
Kan ons bid in hierdie plek asseblief? Can we just pray so that God can be a part of this movement today? Hallelujah. Almal se oë gesluit terwyl ons die groot God innooi in ons midde. Vader, dis in die heilige naam van ons Here Jesus Christus wat ons Here my koning roep op die groot krag van die hemel om hierdie event my koning mooi en goed af te laat verloop. Dankie Here dat U ons mense op so 'n mate bymekaar bring. Dankie Vader van die hemel omdat U ons toelaat om vandag in U teenwoordigheid te wees. We know, Father, we can't do anything without your presence, without you here. And therefore we pray that you will allow your anointing, your spirit, please Lord, to anoint this moment, this atmosphere in this day, so that every person can have the blessing of you for this event, Father God. Please allow your leaders to bring forth the best, Father, out of all of us. The hope we need, we believe it's in this place today, Father God. And we know that you will be a part of this change that is about to happen in this place. Thank you, Lord, for your grace. Thank you for your salvation. Thank you for who you are, Father God. Come and please be a part of this incredible moment. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Now can we have Mr. Gous? Shail? Is it you? Thank you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm just going to do a short prayer in Arabic. And this is the opening of the Quran. Thank you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Thank you, thank you. That was awesome. That was powerful. So now we're going to reign. We're going to take over. We are going to take over. Change is coming. So the next one on the list is an icon. It's one of the best leaders. One of the best leaders. I've been following him for years. And for years I have believed that he's going to lead. And today God has given me that honor to introduce to you my leader, which is going to be your president, Mr. Marius Fransman.
Thank you. I don't look like Mr. Fransman. I'm not there yet. I'm getting there. Before we're going to start, I want to invite Janine Jacobs to the front, because this is our country. And we fought for the freedoms that we have in this country. So Janine is going to do the national anthem for us. So can you please stand for the national anthem of the Republic of South Africa?
Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
Thank you, Janine. So up next, with no further ado, let's introduce Marius Fransman. I think you can do better, but come on, man, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Come on, people. Make some noise.
In my previous life, I would have said a mandla. But now I'm an old man now, Niaz, I can't say that. Ne? Let me say, I think I'm just a program director. But SG Inge asked me to give context to why we are here. I think it's a very, very important, and this is what we call a community engagement. And hence, SG, you were a principal, a deputy principal for 23 years, a teacher. Now, I'm one of those teachers that likes to make sure that if we're engaging in a strategic engagement and a town hall approach, that we're going to ask the children to be quiet. En as die kind raas, vat die kind uit asseblief. Because I think we're coming together for a very serious issue. I also hope that the team that's here with the sound have mics that will be roaming, because we're going to have a discussion. And I'll give context why. Daar's 'n baba wat huil. Kan ons vra vir die baba om stil te wees? En as die baba nie stil is, wil ek hê die moeder moet net die babatjie gou daar buite vat. Because what we will be doing is not a rah-rah discussion. We're not going to have a discussion and we are all happy because we are a gathering like this. There's a young man called Ayanda. Where's Ayanda? Ayanda will have to explain why I'm back into discussing in a political space. Give Ayanda a big hand of applause, please. En 'n bietjie af. Ayanda requested me but a year ago.
No, I will explain.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Amandla! Amandla! Viva, Comrade Marius, viva! Long live the spirit of PMC, long live! Long live the spirit of Tata Nelson Mandela, long live! Amandla! It's good to be here. Kumnando balap. My name is Ayanda. My surname is Nonambane. I don't know what it means, but that's my surname. I'm from Mitchell's Plain. I'm working with Comrade Marius and Comrade Eng and Basil, etc. There are a lot of them. It started 4 years ago, where I was involved in politics with Democratic Alliance. I approached Comrade Marius 4 years ago, and I told him that we need to meet because there's a need for us to meet because of the things that are happening in the Western Cape. Our people, they are still stranded, and our people, they are still suffering. In as much as I'm working for government, but I still see that there is a need for us or for him to come back in politics. But he refused. He said no. And I keep on phoning him. I remember back in 2019 where I met with him. Then I told him that, hey, say, you need to come back in politics because we still need you. And then he said, young man, no. This is not the right time. In 2021 local government elections, I phoned him again. I said, Marius, can you at least squeeze me in your schedule or in your diary? He said, no. So precisely for that reason, each and every time when I called him, he said, no. I said, okay, I'm going to keep on knocking. So I keep on phoning him. He keeps saying, no, it's not the right time to come back in politics. Last year, 2022, February, I phoned him again. It was on Wednesday. I said, sir, we need to meet. And again, he said, no, it's not the right time. So for 4 long years, I was trying to convince him to come back in politics, but he said no. But I told myself that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on phoning him. So on March 2022, I phoned him again. I said, Marius, we need to meet to discuss the future politics of this country. Then he said, yes, tomorrow we can meet. It is the right time. I didn't have the money on my pocket, not even a 5 rand. So I have to go to hustle because I phoned him and say we need to meet. So when he agreed, then I said, okay, I have to make plans so that I can meet with him. Indeed, we met, and I told him that, listen, man, let's start a new political party. Let's not beat about the bushes. Straight to it, let's start a political party. He said to me, young man, if you activate me back to politics, you will create a crisis. I said, as long as that crisis will help our people, then let's do it. Because I believe in life, we need to sacrifice. This is what I told him. If Tata Nelson Mandela sacrificed his family and his time, why can't we sacrifice? And he told me a lot of things, but we agreed on one thing, that let's go and consult the organizations, the NPOs, the NGOs, the community leaders, the churches, pastors like Pastor Randall and others. Then we bring them together under one roof as we are here today and preach the gospel. So I said to him, now, the time is now, sir. Let's go out and make sure that when we do door-to-door campaign, we don't leave any stone unturned, because the time is now. And I remind him the words of Tata Nelson Mandela when he was saying on his speech, it is within your hands. He was talking about the future of this country. Indeed, it is within our hands, because when you vote, that's where you kill the future of your child. Because if you're going to keep on voting the ANC, were voting wrong, the future of your children, it is within your hands. So 2024, it is the time for us to change the way that we are voting and give the Marius Fransman a chance to become a president of this country. Amanda! That's where PMC was born, 2022, on March. And then he agreed that he will come back to politics. Now he's here. The last words that I want to say to him is that he's looking now at you from this side. But how many eyes are looking from this side? So these are your people. And I will always remember the words that you have told me, that when you are pushing the door, there must be the strong young leaders behind you. Because one of us must take a fall. I'm sure we are ready for that. We will take a fall for you. Doesn't matter who says what, but these are your people. We are ready for you. Come back to politics, Marius Fransman. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I think the last point that he made is most important. I'm a facilitator. It doesn't mean that I'm back in leading anything currently. So, and there's a reason for that, and I think we'll take you through that. So it was Ayanda that requested me to bring people together. And that mic is on. I think this is so that we clarify, the PMC stands for People's Movement for Change. It is currently, as we're sitting here, an NPC. It's not a political party as we sit here. It's not registered as a political machine. Because we felt that, and the people that sit in front, that's a lot, the whole kind of side here is possibly people that engage us, and that's part of our process. But as we sit here, there is no interim, national, provincial, or regional, or local executive structure. Now, I'm raising this because when people move into the political realm, the first thing that they do is to put up a political leadership structure. My background, so that you know, comes from the age of 25 in possibly a mayoral position on the West Coast. And under the then leader, Dalla Omar, being the deputy provincial secretary. And we saw the best of times and we saw the worst of times. We saw situations where our people were able to get access to quite a lot of things. And we saw that first 10, 15 years of a democracy where our people gave their faith, their aspirations to us in whichever political persuasions, because I know here's leaders of different political persuasions. And hence, anyone that would have heard me in the past speaking the last year or two would know it's very difficult for me to go and attack any other party. For a simple reason, it's easy to attack. It's difficult to build. It's easy to say what's wrong. On the other side, it's difficult to say what is it that you are putting forward. And in September last year, we engaged in Athlone. These are all significant pointers because where did we meet? We met at a facility that is owned and managed by a Rastafarian community that are doing poetry, arts, culture, karate, tennis, table tennis, etc. for young people. So we were sitting as 30 people in that room and saying, what is it that's required to be done? In that particular meeting, we resolved we need to go to communities. That was in September last year. We then came in end of January, in a meeting of 150 leaders in Paarl, only leaders. And we discussed that very same issue, and there was a position that we need to register a political party. At that point, the leadership knows that I objected to that. In a sense, the reason for that objection is the fact that the question is, what do you do if you are a party? And what would you advance? And what's going to be the interest of the people that you're driving? The people that I will be calling to essentially say 3 to 5 minutes each a message, it's people from various persuasions. They come from various backgrounds, various outlooks, but it is individuals that we as a collective, and me in particular, have a lot of respect for. It doesn't matter what their position are. In fact, those of you that know would remember that I think it was 4 years ago that I had possibly one of the most lowest points. When as you go up, everything that goes up must come down, they say. But as I won a provincial conference of one of the parties, the ruling party, unopposed twice, the next year, and then we were dealing with the Madagascar file, And I said to the Minister of International Relations in France, stop doing coup d'etats in Madagascar and in SADC. It was a meeting and it was on record because we had to, and then I flew to Madagascar and we had a meeting with the JOC, the international community, and we've exposed France and we've exposed America on the way they dealt with issues relating to SADC. I don't know those of you that would know that if you take the economy, if 60% of the French economy is dependent on Francophone countries in Africa, meaning if they didn't have that 100 years agreements after colonial rule to say that Total and this and that will still be in control of those countries, and they will have special treatment, etc., then French economy would have collapsed by now. We then dealt with Libya, and I'm not going to get into that story, but if you look at Libya then, and if you look at Libya now, that the proliferation of weapons has taken place. Closer home, I was saying outside to somebody, there's one Molana that I miss, Molana Hendricks. Because if you look at what is happening, and I've visited those places, I visited both Jerusalem, I visited Gaza, etc. If you look at what happens there, and you juxtapose that with what's happening in the world, of how the world talks about Ukraine, but doesn't talk about the ravages caused in Palestine, in Benin and other areas, then it says that your color of your skin and where you are born, you are still being looked even by the United Nations and by Geneva, where the Human Rights Commission should sit. They're looking at it in a particular paradigm. And there's a reason why I raise those issues up front, because if you come home in an interrelated world, in a world where what you say and what you do is dependent about what happens elsewhere, it is important for us in the local community in Bekweni, in Soweto, or in Bonteheuwel, or in Houtbaai to understand that. Because if we do not understand the global realities, we're finding superficial solutions to complex problems. So I'm raising that by advancing a position that the PMC is calling on those that has an interest in international issues to come and participate. But we are part of countries, and there's those that will say it's still 54, but it's 55 countries in Africa. So we're part of this thing in the Pan-African context. And in the African and our humanity in Africa. And today the political parties are going out, and essentially anything that goes wrong, if I can't as a party, if I can't respond to what is the issue in my community of job creation issues, then I will blame the Zimbabweans. It's easy to blame everyone else. So I saw how the government in Gauteng and the government in this province and political parties generally are making the single issue that goes wrong in our society illegal foreigners. Now, any illegal thing must be dealt with. But then there's legal foreigners. How are we dealing with that? So if I go to Spur now and I find somebody, it's stuff that is I'm raising these contradictions because we are making a call on communities to start engaging on those things. So I'm leaving that part as well. Then the issue of the economy, and it was Thabo Mbeki, the then president, that spoke about first economy and second economy. And he talked about the issue of being an African, and there's learned people in this room that can advance that information much better than myself. But the president then spoke about what is an African. And if you look at what happens currently in the ruling party, there's a contradiction, because it is true that we were all black and oppressed under apartheid. But today you have a contradiction about black in general and African in particular. So what is that notion? If you just unpack that line in the constitution of the ANC, it's a complete contradiction of the history of the strategy and tactics. And that brings me to the First Nation and the Khoi and the San and the Bushman, the Nama and others. Die mense wat die eerste nasie, the people that literally were here and fought the battles, because the first war of resistance took place in Liesbeek. It was long before 1652 that those battles took place. And the question then is, how do we respond to the communities that's descendants of the Khoi and the San? And this is an issue to be discussed. A very close and dear friend of mine recently joined the DA because the argument was two very fundamental points. One, that what I'm doing is I'm bringing too many black people closer. So Mr. Enger would be a problem because he's black, African. So the PMC is not something, we'll rather lose people, but what we want to see is white and black, African, colored, Indian, and everyone all together. Because if we say we are people's movement, it must be centered around the people. Another reason was that some, for example, felt is the fact that we're consulting too long. We don't put a leadership together. And our argument was that unless, and I called it this way, unless Ansina van Keimus sits at this table, there mustn't be a leadership. Now, who is Ansina? They asked me in the meeting. I said, I don't know who. But what I do know, Ansina is that anchor in community that everyone runs to. But when the decisions are being taken and positions are being allocated, the Ansinas of this world is not around. So wat ons sê, die PMC moet na die Ansinas van die gemeenskap toe gaan. Can I have a hand for that, please? So if you're going to ask us, can we have your policy document? We do not have a policy document. In fact, there's those that knows that we met a month and a half ago in a very strategic meeting. And all of us that were there can write in policy documents very quickly. If you ask, does PMC has a complete reworked constitution? The answer is no. We don't have a constitution. Because the process of this exercise will work towards all of that. And that's why I'm going to ask Mr. Enger to make sure that he and his team do the rights up of people and the discussions, the inputs, the short inputs, as well as the discussions that we'll have. So this is not a feel-good discussion. This is the discussion to say, how is it possible that 30 years into a democracy next year, we have currently the highest Gini coefficients in the world, the most unequal society in the world. How is it possible that unemployment, inequality, and unemployability of young people is so high? Daar is die vraag wat moeilik is. How is it possible that the violence is so gruesome because we fought for democracy? Waar my ouma of my auntie of my niggie kan stap en die ou man kan stap na die winkel toe and nothing will happen. But we don't have that type of society currently. So we've asked different political persuasions to come here, to come and engage, so that we put together something that can be something for the future. And therefore, I will start off with, and it's no priority order, nothing like that. It is just, I know one or two people have specifically asked me on a particular time they will leave, so that's why I'm chairing this session. But I'm going to ask Basil Kutsia to come forward, and not only to possibly do a rendition, but also to speak. En wees gemakkelijk, of ons Engels, Afrikaans, of is it Xhosa praat, there will be somebody that can translate. So Basil, Mr. Kutsia, if you can come forward, this is an icon of our society. Give him a big hand of applause. He can also introduce, just give a bit of a background to himself as well.
Marius het jy nog gesê ek moet 'n background gee of?
Ja,
Spring. Ja, goeiemôre, good morning, everybody in the hall, to the panel in front, good day. I'm going to render a poem. Before I do that, I live in Paarl after I've lived in Mitchells Plain for 36 years. And I worked at Paul Small Maximum Security Prison in Turkey. I am also one of the founder members of the Koi and Son Resurgence and Revival. As a result, I have done research, both locally in South Africa, but also in Europe and New Zealand. I've also established links with those people at universities, with the Maori, and so on. The Maori people sit with the very same challenges we have here today. They also lost the language, the identity. But they are also mixed, but nobody calls them colored. They are also in need of restoring the language, something we have started, and it's happening at UCT, etc., and in people's houses. In 2019, I have published 2 books, and one of the books is a poetry anthology. And 90% of the poems are your stories. The mummy that loses a child in the street, dying, the unemployed, everything you can think of. You can go onto Facebook, Basil could see there's over 800 poems about us. I'm saying about us because I look at us as victims of systems. And only we can undo that mental damage of being victims. Ons almal sê, maar wanneer gaan die munisipaliteit dit doen? Maar ek staan by die vullishoop. Why can't I clean it? Basil het gereeld 'n fight oor vullis wat net oral gedamp word. Vanoggend, ek bly in Zettlerstraat, sê 'n groot vrou van oor die 60 vir my, die kinders het gister daar gekom na die park en verskriklik gevloek. Die vrou is ook 'n ouma en 'n ouma grootjie al. Sy sê vir my, as die kinders weer so vloek, moet ek ore plaks in my ore sit. Hoekom moet ek plaks in my ore sit? Ons moet sy kinders leer om nie te vloek nie. And that is how we become victims. So when Marius brought up the question of chains, I wrote a poem. And the reason or the idea of a poem came when we did the program Koi Koi Saga that was recently on television, SABC2, of which I spoke about the role of the church and our communities and our identity. And then I wrote this poem, which I will do now. And it is called Chains Will Come. Now, at this point, I had no idea about this process of people's movement for change. And here is the poem, Change Will Come. Chains will come, not to all, but to some. To be silent is not good. Too many without food. Promises made in vain lead to despair again. To wait for tomorrow is to prolong sorrow. The wealthy do not care who lives in despair. While you wait for profits, the wealthy look for profits. Do not be silent on abuse. Hunger has a short fuse. The wealthy accumulates. The poor lost in debates. What will it take to rise or pay the ultimate price? Shall we all just complain to be repeated again? Change will come, not to all, but to some. Today may seem the way to create a better day. Thank you.
Amandla. Amandla. Ndifuna njena summarize. I'm just going to summarize what has been said for the benefit of people who don't understand English and Afrikaans, so that we can all be in the same level of understanding when we get out of this hall. Ndifuna nje summarize torhwana lento ithetheke apha. Andizuba mde. Kukhona utata uNonambana lo bethetha apha. Esitsho okubana iPMC le iqale njani na? Iqale ngokubana kube kanti uye wa-approacha uMr Fransman amaxesha ngamaxesha, kodwa ekugqibeleni uMr Fransman wathi wavuma ukubuyela kwipolitics. Ekuvumeni kwakhe ke kwakula veki baye bandi-approacha, saphinda sa-approach utata ekuthiwa nguRichard ulapha phakathi kwethu. Yasithi sobane abadecide into yobana masimise lo mbutho iPMC. Ekudeciden kwethu sazama uconsulta abanye abantu ukwenzela ukubana ingabi yonto yethu sedwa le. Sabaconsulta abantu, ibe iprocess uconsulta abantu, because iPMC iqale ngoMarch ngo-2022. Kodwa okona sivezayo namhlanje because besizama uconsulta abantu. Okunene ke uMarius Fransman waye wavuma wathi uzayikhokela. Ngumuntu ke lona one experience kwipolitics kakhulu. Nesithe sawujonga saqonda obana uzakwazi ukuyikhokela nkosathu. Umzekelo omncinci uMr Fransman wayengu-chairperson we-ANC apha eWestern Cape. But i-ANC yafa mhla wayeka uba ngu-chairperson we-ANC way back ngo-2016 up until today. Ayinawo amazinyo i-ANC apha eWestern Cape. So loo nto ikhomba ukuthi ungumntu ozakwazi ukusikhokela asise phambili. Uthethile ke naye watsho esithi zininzi ke izinto eziye zemehlela, siyayazi into awayityholwe ngayo ukuze abe kanti uyaphuma kwi-ANC. Neyaye icourt yayiclearisha loo nto. Nekuzawufuneka into yobana ukusukela namhlanje uyaphambili xa udibana nomntu embeka ibala umkhusele, because ukusukela namhlanje uyaphambili loo nto izakwenzeka ndinethemba. Iifowunzi zethu zizawukhala ngabantu bemedia bezama upeyinta igama lakhe rongo, so kuzawufuneka ke ngoku sikhusele. Silapha for imfuno zabantu, ezinto abantu babethenjiswe ngazo kodwa up until namhlanje bengekazifumani. Ii-sectors zethu zonke zimelwe. Abantu aba-disabled sibamele apha. Abantu abangafumani services ekuhlaleni sibamele. I-unemployment enkulu kakhulu kule country siyimele. Umba weteksi ogqiba abantu bethu ingakumbi kule province yase-Western Cape siyimele loo nto leyo. So zizinto ezo ezibangela into yoba kube kanti sifomisha le party kuthiwa yi-PMC. Benzama nje torhwana ukusummarize into yobana kwenzeka ntoni na. Enkosi.
Nosipo, can you just check your WhatsApp message quickly for me, please? Just check your WhatsApp. What I will do, I will now request President of the Triple C, Mr. Fadil Adams, that has also graced us with his presence. Basil suggested that we meet, I think 2 weeks ago. So we had a meeting, but before that, we saw that there are those activists in communities that, despite their political positions, sonder dat hulle omgee van hulle political office, sonder die geld, without any money, dat hulle organically uit die gemeenskap besluit het om op te staan namens die gemeenskap. And Mr. Adams is one of them. Hy is ook tans raadslid in die stad Kaapstad vir 'n party. So let me welcome President Fadil Adams, and let's give him a big hand of applause.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everybody. Goeiemiddag, Mola. I'm just going to put it out there that I am a member of the Cape Coloured Congress. It is the only political home I've ever had. God willing, it will be the only political home I ever know. However, I do believe that in the context of South African politics, we need all the loud voices we can get. We have to understand that ours is a big fight, that we face an oppressor that is organized, he's financed, he's experienced, and he's ruthless. The turnout here is very pleasing. It shows that people like Randy and Basil and myself are not the only ones who care about tomorrow, are not the only ones that are concerned about the welfare of our people and children whose names we will never know. This does something to me, and I'd like to congratulate the leadership behind me on a job very well done. For those of you that don't know, Mine is a very simple task. I have been tasked to go out there and fight for the future of the colored child in particular. Now, I understand not everyone in this hall is mad about that. I understand that my brother behind me, Basil Jacobs, a man who I respect wildly, doesn't like it. But this is my stance. This is the one I've chosen. I have to fight the fight that begins at my door. You know what happens when I open my door? I see hundreds of people who have been let down by the very system that people like Chief Basil Kutsia fought for. It is a massive letdown. And I can tell you that if we don't get this right, if they don't get this right, 5 more years of hardship wait for all of us. The sad part of what happens in this world today, and it's a question I'm going to ask, and I want you to take it home, is where are the white people? Because as nationalistic, I see them. Congratulations and welcome. As nationalistic as some people think I am, it's for fairness, nothing less. It's for justice, nothing less. It's for full freedom. The freedom I know is not what we fought for. You see, where I live, the actual mayor, he doesn't wear a gold chain. He's a drug dealer. He decides what time we are allowed to go out at night. He decides what time our schools close. He decides what time you get to work. He decides what time it's safe at the bus stop. That is the system that we're fighting. The system we fight is the one that ensures that out of all the inmates in Cape Town, the 8% of colored people will fill those jails. No one is going to tell me that I am genetically inclined to criminality. But if you look at the statistics, it's our boys in the prisons, colored and black, and they've done it successfully. Am I interested in unity? Of course I am. But we can't have unity until the colored community gets its house in order. We must not forget that it was Jimmy Manye who said that there's an oversupply of coloreds in this province. They spoke of us as if we were a commodity. The future for my people looks bleak. It's why we decide to rise up. Maybe one day we stand on the stage together. Maybe one day I can look everyone in the eye and say, you know what? Now is our time. But that day is not today. The colored people will have a national voice next year. I guarantee you that. I want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with this. As far as politics is concerned, I have no experience. None, zero. But in this Western Cape, where I am oppressed, we differ in political terms to the point where ek wil hom al in 'n byl geslaan het. You can ask him. But the respect I have for this boy, because in the mornings he's up, he's out, he's fighting for people he doesn't know.
Tata ubhekisa kumuntu ongekhoyo kwala. Only this man behind me. Utata lona ogqiba kwehla. Uthetha ngenhlungu. Athe wayibona kuye ethuna. Kukuba ezinye izinto singazithatha light okanye siziguqule ngenye indlela. But ndifuna nje ukhombisa into encinci. Ukuqala kwalento kuthiwa i-black economic empowerment.
Mr. Raymond Fransman, I saw the poster, I suspect he's from the organization, the CPF. Can you ask Mr. Raymond Fransman? He was here earlier. No, it's not.
Baie dankie Mr. Fransman. Goeiemôre almal. Is dit die mens wat Mr. Fransman hier het wat is hallo sê nie? No. I'm gonna go off again en ek gaan opkom. I'm the president of the house party. After parties. Yeah. Wait. Let's do this liquor. I'm gonna introduce myself and run on and I clap julle vir my. Ladies and gentlemen,
I present to you the president of the... Ek is nou, soos ek gesê, 20 jaar in die industry. I'm a director, I'm a producer, I write, maak ditches and ditches, and like I'm looking over this crowd now. My grandfather would have said, you know what this reminds me of? A good pot of soup. The reason for it is, kyk al die different bestanddele, different cultures, different accenten, different tale, all of this in one pot. And there's not one person maak die sin vir my nie. So, iets wat ek net wil van die arts sector wil ek net iets add. Why do our elderly artists, when they pass on, leave this world, hoekom moet daar 'n konsert gehou word vir die artists om in die grond gesit te word? Why do our artists die poor? Why? I'm not saying it's a support. Hoekom? Kwart is klaar weg. You know? So that's why I'm saying it's expensive to be an artist. Lots and lots of our children, kids, wants to be artists, right? Up and coming artists. As a producer, he is the TikToks, as the socials, as the this, as the that. Moet jy die ouer work vir die SPCA? En wat ek hier het is my moedertong. Ek is van die BLX Instituut in Kaapse klonk ek gesê het. Soos ek so klink, dit maak my nie minder intelligent nie. Dit maak nie vir my minder intelligent omdat ek so praat nie. Hoekom kan ek nie so praat in 'n boardroom meeting nie? Why not? Soos Mr. Fransman gesê het, die Ansina. Dit is die Ansinas. Julle is die Ansinas. Ek is die Ansinas. Ons ouers is die Ansinas. So laat ons saam staan as een en support our art, sodat ons younger generation nie net met 2-minute noodles eet van maande en maande tot daar 'n big break kom nie. So aan die gemeenskap wat daar buite is, en almal van julle, aan ons, almal wat hier is, change is gonna come. So baie dankie aan een en elk van julle. My naam is Christian Bennett. Dankie.
Molweni kuninonke, igama lami ndinguNosipho, ndimele nje ukutranslate le nto ibithethwa ngubhuti ngoku. Ndizawuzama ushwankathela ke apho ndikwazi khona. Ubhuti apha usixelela ukuba abantu abazi-actors, like abantu abasebenza komabonakude, abantu abenza i-creative arts, bayasokola bethunana. Bayasokola ngenxa yokuba thina asisapoti, especially thina abantu ababukela abantu ezi-TV-ni. Sometimes siye singene nako-Facebook, siye singona nako-Twitter, sisawugqiba mhlawumbi sifake i-comment embi phana ukuba ubani aka-acti kakuhle, ubani akenzi umsebenzi omhle. Aba bantu bethunana, ngoobrother bethu, ngoosister bethu, and bephana nje bawufundele laa msebenzi. Umntu ubheke eyunivesithi ukuba makayoku-acta, ayostadisha i-acting okanye ukucula. Kodwa thina xa sesingena kwaba-Facebook nakwaba-WhatsApp bethu, sibanyemba. Siyalibala uba abantu bayozamela imideni yabo, iifemeli zabo, uba mazithini, mazitye. So uthi lo mntu ucela esithini, sisapotaneni, and akamelanga nje abantu bebala bodwa, nathi bantu bamnyama. Kukhona imvumi ezimnyama pha, kukhona abantu aba-actayo, nibukela oo-generations omuvango. Niya-understand abantu basekhaya? Niyababukela ziifemeli zenu, uya-understanda? Aba bantu basebenzala nina, uba bondle nina, but nina niyathini, niyanyemba. Ko-social media nithetha kabuhlungu ngabo, baluza imisebenzi. Udade kutheni famba asuke apha, ayosebenza ngapha eRhawutini, for uba athini, azama usupport ifamily yakhe, because apha eCape Town itheni, asinayo isupport. Nakum, bendiyimbongi mna, bendifuna uba se-TV mna, bendinamaphupha mna, but because apha eCape Town asinayo isupport. Uthi sicela sisapotaneni as abantu abazimvumi, as abantu abadlala komabonakude. Ekugqibeleni ubhatala i-DSTV yakho pha, andithi ufuna ubukela ntoni? Ufuna ubukela bani? Ufuna ubukela aba bantu bayani-entertaina, benzela nina i-entertainment, bonwabisa nina, bahlekisa nina. Ngamanye amaxesha kubuhlungu kuwe, ufuna umamela ingoma mhlawumbe ezecawe, ingoma eza kuzukisa umphefumlo wakho, ezizawuvuselela wena. Kodwa thina sitheni, siyabanyemba. So uthi ucela into enye, uthi ucela masibe banye, ucela sisapotaneni, seke uthetha kakubi ko social media ngabantu aba-actayo. Uthi khona kutheni bazawuthi abantu aba-actayo siba celebrate xa sebeswelekile. Ibe ngona sibona uba babalulekile ezimpilweni zethu. Kutheni singaba-celebrate ngokubakhoyo? Andifuna uxoka nami nentloni, ndiyaqala umbona lo bhuti nazange ndambona nase-TV, zintloni ezo. Loo nto ithetha uba betana sicela sisapotaneni, sakhaneni. Andithi sifuna iSouth Africa ebright, iSouth Africa entsha, iSouth Africa etheni eright. Siyavumelana? Sicela nisapotaneni enkosi.
Thank you. Okay, you keep it. Thanks so much. I think yesterday or 2 days ago, I've requested the next speaker to come, and I invited her because she was also part of a discussion, I think a bit more than a month ago in town. In wat ons gaan maak, Nosipo, jy sal kan, ek het gesê that I regularly now and then, I'm Catholic, but I attend a lot of the Pentecostal churches. And ek weet as ek gaan daarna Bishop Moslale toe, dan is daar translator wat praat terwyl die praat is. Dan as ek gaan na Kodeta toe, dan is dit dieselfde. As ek gaan na die 12 Apostle Church toe, dan is dit dieselfde. Nou ek verstaan nie hoekom die SG nie dit kan reggekry het nie. SG. Hy sê vir my sy translator dink hy was dronk die naweek. Nou as jy kan, ek wil hê jy moet probeer, né? Wanneer ons praat like sê kry jou kop reg, nou net nou doen jy dit. Then we just try and see if it's going to save time. On the issue, aan die gemeenskap, we are giving messages for you to discuss later. So please, like how do I make points? One of the things that came out now related to the entertainment sector and the employability, the insurance issues in their environment as well. So I'm just going to park that there. There's a discussion required. Soos unemployment daar is, die een ding wat daar is creative arts, because that is natural many a times. And the question is, how do we help the creatives? And the PMC is going to look at that as a particular focus. So, ek sal nou oorgee aan, en sy het vir my gesê, omdat sy letterlik gevra het eergister, dat sy sal hier wees, so tot na 2, en toe het ek gesê, ek sal hulle 2 op die kop praat, and it is now 2 o'clock. So, I want the lady that I will give the floor to introduce herself, but not only speaking about the cannabis industry then, but also to speak about your organization and essentially what the organization is doing to society. Chantal, we're sitting with a broken society. Ek maintain a view dat as jy vir my in colonialism 'n identiteit probeer gesteel het, then thereafter apartheid, then you threw guns and drugs on the Cape Flats, and thereafter you introduced the tot system. The psychological scars that is here, die sielkundige probleme wat ek het, is so groot. En vandag sê die mense, ja, maar kyk hoe gaan die mense aan. As if it was not a generational flow of what has happened. And I think your organization is doing extensive work in that space. We believe we must create 1,000 leaders out of the PMC from all over this country. But it's no use if they're going to know how to shout Amandla. It's more important for us, can they actually deal with their own issues in communities, in themselves, and their family, and then out in society. Let's give Chantal Appel the big hand of applause, please.
Afternoon, everybody. Ek is mos nou met 'n Pareliet getroud, né? Yeah. Thank you, thank you. So, and every morning, Marius, my husband will say to me, "What is this woman doing today? Where is she going today?" You know, so sometimes I wonder if all of this is okay upstairs.
Most likely not.
Most likely not, no. I'm the executive director of an organization called the Institute for Applied Alchemy. And in Marius's conversation, he was speaking about the Gini coefficient. You know, we started the gathering with a prayer. And we started the gathering with a Muslim chant as well. And so when we look at people of color, ons is 'n gelowige gemeenskap. We are people that is steeped in a faith. And that's what survival does. It strengthens our faith. When I was 4 years old, I was raped. And I only got to understand that when I was 32. And the part that Marius is speaking about is, where do we pack those things? And when you lead people, when you have to make strategic decisions, what we're not taught is that we pull from that place. We pull from that place that is hurt. And not just hurt in a superficial way. We pull from that place that questions our very identity. We met with PMC on the 11th of March this year. And we were called in with a very particular mandate. Marius is the first one to say to me, so when I ask him a question, don't come to me with that stuff. I'm a psychologist by nature, you know, I'm an industrial psychologist. He said, don't come to me with that stuff. However, he sits in the uncomfortableness of the question, which is the start of healing. So when we met with the PMC on the 11th of March, and we listened to their call, because they sat as a group of leaders and they have a very particular call. I said to him, at the end of the conversation, I said to his team, I said, Marius, you are called to do a difficult thing. And you're not called to lead a country. That's not the difficult thing. You're called to be a congruent leader. Now, what is a congruent leader? A congruent leader is what I think, what I speak, what I do is one. So if I see you in Spa, or if I see you at the Union Buildings, you're the same person. That is the essence of power. Because an individual like that, you can't shake that person. That person is grounded in a very particular way. And you will start to understand, I call it the golden prostitute. The golden prostitute is a highly influential individual in our community. And what is the golden prostitute? The golden prostitute is the one that maintains faith and they don't have a price. You know that person where you're trying to, let me do this, and if you do, you know that kind of feeling? A golden prostitute maintains the faith and they don't have a price. So when he speaks about building 1,000 conscious leaders, that's what that man is speaking about. How do we, from our communities, how do we create a table and a platform for those people? Because there's many of us sitting here. In terms of the cannabis industry, you will hear a lot of information about it. There'll be a lot of talk about the cannabis industry, and many of you will be involved in the cannabis industry. I sat with the president of the Black Farmers Association of South Africa, and I said to him, Lennox, if we're going to lead this industry, you cannot lead the industry from a facility perspective. You have to lead from a legislative perspective. And at the moment, the South African Health Products Association, SAPRA, as much as they're speaking about opening up the cannabis industry, they have ensured from a systemic perspective that there are insurmountable barriers. They're also saying that there is no information about the cannabis industry. They don't know the size of the market. They don't know what we're going to sell it for. No, SAPRA has awarded 88 licenses nationally. 21 licenses in the Western Cape, 30 in Gauteng, 5 in the Eastern Cape. Mpondoland, can you believe that? Can you believe that? 88 registered organizations, PTYs, which means that this is public information that must be available to the people. They're saying there's no information. So when you speak about turnover, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Part of our conversation, so Marius was speaking about when you have a national platform, you have to be able to speak at international levels. That's what he was speaking about. 2 weeks ago, we were at Oxford University. And the thing that I'm wanting to say to us is that we are light years ahead. My organization had to pay 22 rand to the pound to go and ask one question in Oxford. One question. They were speaking about funding. They had donors in the room, and they had other organizations that were asking for money. Now, when you have that kind of situation, you have a disparity in power. Anybody that's got money in their pocket and someone else comes to ask them for money, you sumakwai now. No? You sumakwai. So that was the dynamic in the room. And part of my question was, what is the conversation that we need to have in order to create power parity in this room? The task that we are going to need to deal with is teach our people how to make sense of the pain. It's a massive task. It's a massive task because only once you start understanding, contextualizing your pain, can you become congruent in your decisions. So I'm wanting to thank Marius and his executive for the space and the platform and for bringing conversations to our people that we need. We need these kinds of conversations. So thank you, Marius.
Mama, Ngoma kakhulu indlela Mr. Fransman ayiyo nendlela jonge analyze ngayo yena esitsho ke into yobana ungumntu apha obajonga abantu ngehlobo elifanayo igcininisa ke into yobana ubunye phakathi kwethu buya kunceda umzekelo ugxininisa into esiqhele ukuyithetha okubana ukuze kube kanti izinto ziyatshintsha apha naphaya funeka sazi ukubana kukhona la perspective ye legislation which is xa ujonge lonto ke ujonge ukubana nguwe umuntu ozakwazi ukuguqula izinto ngokwasemthethweni so zizinto ezo ebezithetha ungumntu ke onceda kakhulu apha naphaya but ngenxa yexesha akakwazi unaba kulonto sawudibana naye ecaleni because ngokweprofession yakhe yi-psychologist yena enkosi
Thank you so much. I want to do this in Afrikaans and in English. When we introduce somebody, please clap hands. Let me just test it. Let's introduce Mr. Fransman. No, sit, Mr. Fransman, it's just a test. We need to lift up our leaders in our society. Ander mense gaat nie ons mense oplig nie. So if we can't do it here, how can we do it outside? Let's introduce Mr. Fransman. That's what we want to see. It's important because we're not here to come and ask. We're telling you our plan going forward. That's important. Maar nietemin, ek wil net gou inkom oor wat die dame oor gepraat het, Santel. Sy het gepraat oor die cannabis industry. Sy het gepraat oor die dagga. Baie van ons mense was in die tronk gesit oor die dagga. Is dit so? Baie van ons mense het kriminele records as gevolg van die dagga. Nou kom gee hulle die licenses vir 'n paar elites. Dink julle is reg? Wanneer ons stil bly, dan kom hulle weg met die moord. Die power is in ons collective hande. So wanneer ons opstaan vir die regte ding, dan begin ons te beweeg. So that's why we are here today. So when we introduce somebody that speaks on this platform, I need you to rise and clap hands because it's a start of change. Power to the people. Thank you.
Ek het geweet Basil gaan moet iets sê op daai industrie ding. Saterdag wat kom, is it Saturday? Saterdag wat kom is dat there will be a march that Nadia staan het geop. Is 'n wit dame daar, maar sy lei 'n march oor die cannabis industrie om te help dat dit ook die mense wat uitgehou is ook dat te help mee. Kan ek oorgee aan ons het die volgende twee sprekers is Lucinda Evans en dan Rod Solomons in volgorde. Lucinda Evans is one of those iconic leaders in society. She is both a national and international figure. And she was participating and identified. Sy was geïdentifiseer as 'n vrou van die jaar persoon deur een van die institutions. En sy vlieg baie na Germany en ander plekke toe. But what I've picked up her heart is literally daar ergens in die Noordkap is daar plekkie as ek haar bel, dan sê ek, wil jy nie na 'n vergadering toe kom nie? Nee, Marius, ek is daar op 'n plek. En sy het ook 'n organisasie binne in die Kaap wat sy self van die grond af gebou het sonder enige hulp. Let's give Lucinda, if you can also just give background to your own organization and yourself, but really a woman of power and a woman of strength. Let's give a big hand of applause.
A very good afternoon, everyone. I am very impressed that there's gender equity at this table. 3 men and 3 women. Because you see, community of Paarl and the multi-party leaders, I acknowledge all of you that are here from different political parties. Ek is 'n goose van 11dale. I'm the only one that says ek is a goose. Nobody has permission to call me a goose. Because I know who I am. Ek is a colored vrou. And I want to say to the different political heads that are here, I'm here to ask all of you today, where's your gender equity? I'm really impressed because I was going to challenge Kadre Fransman if there was one woman short. You see, in our country, we have a rapist from Nigeria. His name is Omotozo. He is 6 years in a prison cell in the Eastern Cape, St. Albans. I'm not even sure if he's still there. Because look what happened to Bester. He raped 97 of our daughters under the banner that it's his worship team. And I asked the question today to President Ramaphosa that lied to us in 2019 at the Am I Next March. When are we going to deal with this rapist? Mr. Or let me be respectful. Minister Becky, last August, 20 of our children were raped in Rustenburg. And he makes a statement and he says they should be lucky only one was raped and not all of them. And so when we speak about a people's movement of change, I want to challenge the heads. Advocate Solomon, you're hearing me, and I know Councillor Randy's hearing me. Do you see women as part of the leadership of this country? Because I look across the hall, and the majority of participants in this hall, Kadre Marius, is women. Gone are the days of 1956 when the men stood on our backs. Remember why we celebrate 9 August? So I asked the question today in 2023, where are the granddaughters in the national government? Die bruin vroue, die wit vroue, die swart vroue, die Indiër vroue. Where are they? We are to silent women of this country. We're going into 2024, and again, it is us that's going to work for a man that's going to lead us. And only 42,000 women have reported rape in the last financial year. We know the stat says 1 out of every 9 women. Actually, 336 women were raped. So when we speak about change, Kadre, my challenge to you is, do you see us as a number 2 or a number 1? My next challenge is, and let me be frank, ek is hier om 'n lap om 'n gesonde vinger te draai nie. I am notoriously disliked. And for those women that have gaslighted me on social media, you pull my panty, I take it off, I give it to you because I have a mandate. My mandate is to remind the men that the women in this country, our daughters, our granddaughters, our babies are dying. Gender-based violence and rape. My question back to this forum, when we speak of change, how serious are we to address gender inequity? If the next president of this country aspirations is to be a man, would the deputy be a female? Would 5 out of the 9 provinces premiers be female? Then we talk business. But the women of this country need to remember, we hold the majority vote. But culture and religion keeps us behind. Van mama het gesê, jy maak jou bed en jy lê daar. And then I want to say to the men that are still gaslighting women, we see you. But we also see you using women for powers of position. We also see the women patriarchs in the skirt. If a man is robust, he's sexy. But if a woman like Lucinda Evans is robust, she's a thief. And that is how we are labeled. And so what I want to say, and I mean no disrespect, sir, it's the reality. Because I want to ask, and this is, I'm not picking on you, comrade, but where is the gender equity in the transport service? Why are women Uber drivers being blocked by taxis? Because we know we're safe. We are nowhere safe, comrade. I'm here and I want to honor the women of 1 Billion Rising that are here and the community development leaders from UWC, because we also came on your invitation with a mandate. And so when you have your strategic discussions, I'm a gardener, I plant seeds. First things first, where do you see women in 2024 in the leadership of taking our country forward? Number 2, is our industry open transport to women to be side by side? Thank you, my sister, for the acknowledgement. And number 3, can we address the issue that when a man dies and a woman is supposed to inherit the land, that somebody will marry her off to the brother or the uncle, or the family comes and take the land? And in closure, time for talk is done. Time for talk is done. Because I want to say, even if we have women are not mobilized for 2024, watch out. There will be a women's political party coming. And then we are coming with fire second to nothing. Because we are tired of being raped, of being killed, and then we feed with your taxpayers' money a guy like Timothy Omotoso, 6 years in a South African prison. And when I asked Minister Lamola what's going to happen to him, the minister's response to me is, bail was denied. They must go. They had their time. The Mandela Constitution and the Liberation Constitution leaderships, and I include the leadership here, it doesn't cater for women, it doesn't cater for gender-based violence, it doesn't cater for the unabated violence to our bodies and our children's bodies. It doesn't cater for rural people. Please go see what's going on in the Northern Cape in Sutherland. Go and see what is happening to our people there. And in closure, I want to wish PMC all of the very best. Time for talk is over, leaderships. Thank you very much.
Can we have a translation? Okay.
Ndizawuzama uba mfutshane sivile bethunana umama uthethile apha and uthethe kakhulu malunga nezinto ezichaphazela thina abantu babhinqileyo. Uthi kule country abantu ababhinqileyo bethunana asinazi opportunities. Kule country abantu ababhinqileyo sijongelwa phansi. Amadoda isoloko ingawo la anezihlalo eziphezulu. Thina abantu ababhinqileyo sijongelwa phansi. So ngoku ixesha lothetha liphelile, lixesha lokwenza. So lo mama uthi uyathemba lo mbutho losikuwo namhlanje ngoyena mbutho uzakwenza itshintsho. Fama sibe kulo mbutho we-PMC ke bena lo mbutho wotshintsho uzawudala itshintsho. Enkosi.
Baie dankie. Die volgende persoon is advokaat Rod Solomons. Hy sal ook sy organisasie gee en ook 'n bietjie agtergrond. But he was one of, I would have been very young when I went into the political office, but he was possibly the youngest when he went into the administrative office. and served in the provincial government even in 94 in the administration. So he's a professional. He has worked extensively with political systems and governance systems, and in the last couple of years decided also to pursue some discussions and positioning about what is the future and what needs to be done in this country. So let's give to Advocate Rod Solomon a big hand of applause.
Thanks. Can I ask permission? Can I sit? Then I won't take all the time. Otherwise, if I stand, you know, when we stand and we see an audience and we like to talk forever and ever. Thanks. And I wrote what I wanted to say down so that so that I'm not misinterpreted, because what I want to share is, I think it's fairly significant to assist in taking us forward. So let me just check. You know, technology nowadays, we use all of these things. Yeah, so as I said, Marius said, good afternoon all, and thanks to Marius for inviting me to share some thoughts on this historic day for those who regard themselves as workers. And you know, when I applied my mind to think, what do I want to say, and so on, and I grappled with this question: is this a day to celebrate? Is this a day to enjoy? Is this a day to commemorate? Or is this even a day for us to lament? When I mean by lament, I mean complain and all of that stuff. But I will leave it up to you to, when you are quiet at home, alone and so on, to think about what you think is the significance of May Day in present day South Africa. And then you decide how you want to understand this day. As Marius say, I think I was probably the youngest head of department in the country then in 1994. Those were tough and interesting times. I mean, the politicians were not there yet. We had to negotiate with a nationalist party, with some of the senior civil servants. We, in essence, had to establish parliament, and I was involved in the setting up of national parliament as well. As Marius and many others, I come from an ANC background. I was the head of the ANC civil service unit that we set up all the infrastructure, the architecture for our public sector in South Africa. I was privileged to deal with people like Dalla Omar, Zola Skuia, Kara Asmal. I can go on and on. And I dealt with Dr. Busak directly, and he became a friend over the years and so on. So those were really heady days. We can write a book probably about it. Maybe I should at some stage. Or ek sien Marius het al die technology ouens hier. Ek moet miskien we must do a series about some of that stuff. But it was interesting days. And I was in government. I headed up sport and culture. And then I left after, I think in the mid 2000 and end of 2005, I think. I went to go and mind my own business, and then there was a period came some of us could see that the wheels were coming down in South Africa. There was, even before in Kandla, we could see the signs about state capture, corruption, leaders that were unaccountable, etc. People were talking on Facebook, and then I started this entity called the South Africa First Forum. And in essence, what it is about is we want to empower South Africans to get their voices back, to speak truth to power, to tell those who's in authority that the resources don't belong to them and they are servants of the people. So we were one of the first. We organized lots of anti-Zuma, Zuma must fall marches and all of those things. But let me not talk about that now. And I can probably say many things about the current state of affairs in our country. And lots as it relates to our workers and how it is my considered view that all of us in South Africa are being taken for a royal ride by those in authority, whether they are national government or provincial government or local authorities or even our own trade unions. You know, on a regular basis, I get approached by people for legal advice about how they are being abused, exploited, or discriminated against at work. And then after I listen to their sad stories, I suggest maybe it's best that you should get your union representatives to take up the matter for you, instead of going the legal route, because as you know, the legal route is very expensive. But then the person look at me when I say that, and the person think that I am mad, and because they say when they go to the union, it seems like the union is ineffectual, the union rep are not looking after their interests. So I trust that is not a general problem affecting many of our workers. However, I don't want us to focus on the political parties or the unions who disappointed so many of us time after time after time. What I want us to focus on is what we, capital we, meaning you and all of us on this table, can do to take our power back in order to make a practical difference in the lives of all of our people. And here I want to underscore this. All our people, but especially the poor and the middle class. And I think the middle class are being decimated. And those looking like you and me have too long been taken for voting fodder, palukas, or as Lucinda would say, or as I would say in our communities, taken for nwatas by those in authority. So it is time to say loudly and clearly, enough is enough. And we need to empower our people to get their voices back and go into those ballot boxes to vote for public representatives who will actively go into parliament to put the interests of the poor and the middle class communities first. So that for two things, so that our people can, one, get their dignity back, and secondly, live with dignity. And it is as simple as that. There must be no gray areas. It must be that. So that is why I've been talking to people like Marius and others from other civil society organizations about working together with that objective. It is about the saying that says, unity is strength, or eendrag maak mag. It is not about me or some of us here getting into parliament and earning fat salaries. We, at least myself, if I can talk for myself, we have our own careers. And we've been there. Marius was there. He was a deputy minister. But it's about us wanting to be a catalyst for the different civil society formations and smaller parties to work together under one umbrella. So this is an important point that I want to underscore. All of them can maintain their own identities, but come election time, it's a pity Fadil left, but we'll have a further discussion with Fadil. But come election time, we will and we must contest under one civil society-led umbrella. And I'm very clear. I, Rod Solomons, I don't actually need to be on that ballot, or I don't need to be in a leadership position. I am not saying that, and I think Marius would probably have a similar view, but maybe they'll put pressure on him to stand and so on. But be that as it may, I'm firmly of the view that for this to succeed, we'll have to be fully agreed and complied with the following. I just want to highlight 7 things. The first one is, there must be no big brother mentality amongst all of those formations or parties. There must be nothing about name calling, but we should rather focus. Our people are tired of that. We need to focus on what we offer and how we will do things differently, and show people that we can, that we did and we can do it again. A very important point that I want to say, it's a big word, but I'll try and explain it, is meritocracy. Must be embedded, meaning we must put forward the best person to go and represent us. If the best people are 80% women, then so be it. That would be great. Not those with the loudest mouths, with the most money, or seemingly the most popular. What we need in this country, we need wise people, we need thinkers, and we need doers. That's what we need in Parliament. And where we have identified someone to do that, and the person is maybe not politically experienced, that person must be trained how to deal with it when they go into Parliament. Then there must be an agreement on, and Marius has said, they don't have policy positions themselves. But there must be an agreement on a set of unshakable principles that should guide and glue that coalition. And those principles need to be discussed. I'm not going to share any one of them now. We will need to have a discussion around that. So the slate is clean. But there must be no place for prima donnas in such a coalition. There mustn't be place for people who want to throw their toys out of the cot if there's the smallest disagreement. Nothing like that. We need wise and level-headed people who are in it, not for themselves or their families or their friends, but for the broader community. And you know what? We should not continue with this problem. I think it's afflicting South Africa, which I call it personality politics, where we say the person, the personality, because that's been our problem. We should focus on the issue and not on the individuals. And then the last unshakable thing that I think that we need to agree on is that we need to recall those who are not performing and those who are guilty of what? Corruption. There must be, even if it's me, there must be no exceptions. If it's Marius or anyone, if you must be recalled. So the other point that I want to make is, I think we should seriously commit and work towards a civil society-led convention where we can work, where we can deal with things like, it's 3 things that I want to propose. The first important thing is, what is a kind of society or community that we want to live in. That's the first thing that that convention needs to agree on. The second thing is, needs to agree on the offerings that we will present to the voters, in particular the poor and the middle class, to make their lives better so that they can get their dignity back and live with dignity. And then the third thing, we probably need to agree on what will be the name of this overarching movement. What are we going to call this thing that under which we're going to contest? Back in the day, we had something called the UDF. And then we need to deal with various other practical matters. Then I propose at such a convention, I've had discussions with Marius, but I'll share it with you, that we should have this not later than August this year, because the elections is next year, 2024. And I want to say the election in 2024, I think it is our opportune time. I don't subscribe to this thing of waiting till 2029. I think 2024 is a time for us to make a solid intervention for our people. And we can unleash a group of committed and positive people into our national parliament and some of the provincial parliaments that I think we should contest elections in. Because I think there are loads of amazing people out there, especially people who are younger than me and younger than Marius, who can make a contribution. They can go and be a breath of fresh air in Parliament. And our time is now. Let us not remain on the outskirts and only bitch and moan on social media or in our communities. The time is ours. Let's do something. Let's work practically towards it. And I wish you well. As I want to end, I say salute. Thank you.
I was out. Summarize.
Thanks. That's just
Bethuna, into enzekayo i1 uthi utata anizuphinda yonke into ebeyithethile kodwa into ayithethayo yethi funeka sibe imbumba amanyama ukuya ku2024 ngexesha le-elections ngoba ukuya ku2029 iyabe iyinto yalate leyo. So uzokusinika ke ngoku eso support sokubana ukunye nathi kule nto siyenzayo. Enkosi. Akho umuntu ukwazi uqamba na apha kuthe xwaka kwenzeka ntoni? Hayi kuzawuza ukutya, don't worry.
Yeah. Can we ask the real dancers to come forward? We're now going to ask, I don't know what's their name, so whoever has brought them can just introduce. Geef vir hulle groot hande klap asseblief. And we know that it is an extensive discussion. Very good, important points is coming out. En ons vra verskoning as daar mense is wat miskien nou nie so diep in die gesprek inkom nie, maar dit is belangrik dat julle luister na die proses. man.
Goedemiddag een en elkeen. Ons is Nederburg vasttrappers bij Nederburg School. Ons is 8 spannen. Omdat ons op 99 gekomen het, ik paartjes voor te wijzen dat die reeldans bestaan. Ons cultuur is nog geuit, ons cultuur is nog daar. En voor ons te contact, ik kan verbeteren contact, hij weet waar ons is. En ons zal komen bij u. Dank u.
Give them a very big hand of applause, please. What's her naam? Amanda. So dat jy weet, ons gaan ook, ons is besig om met die dame van Vredendal te praat. Ek het nou net 'n naam nou wat ek nie, en dan het ons ook mense in Klein Willem. Ons dink ons wil ook as die PMC 'n real dance festival hou aan die einde van die jaar. So Basil moet vir jou by dit kry. Because we saw what ATKV het gedoen. ATKV doen dit, maar as jy kyk na wie doen die transport daar, as jy kyk na wat gaan die kinders kry, as jy kyk na al die, as jy kyk na wie eien hulle produksie. Daar's nie eers 'n plan dat die produksie, want onthou wat ATKV doen, hulle gee 'n bietjie kos as die mense kom, maar dan verkoop hulle daai produksie aan kyk net, maar die mense wat hier gedans het, kry nie die geleentheid om deel in dit nie. So that is our intervention as the PMC. Support jy daai benadering? Okay. Ek gaan nou ons is nou besig, daar's mense wat regmaak om kos, to say that, because people want to hear that part. Is Dis mense wat gereed maak om kos. Ons weet, ons het lank gepraat en insette, but we don't have a choice, because if it is only festivals, then it defeats the objective of the PMC. So ons gaan nog nie breek nie, ek wil net hê, jy moet sê, hulle is besig om die kos reg te kry.
bakhona omama babonile ababam bathi hey silambile asikwazi nocula kuyaphakwa dodwana kuyaphakwa so sizakwazi ukutya kwamsinyane.
Okay, waar is 4IM? Kan daai dames opstaan en hulle dingetjie reg kry en vorentoe kom? Geef vir hulle groot hande klap asseblief. The group of 5, I'm not so sure if they can, en julle kan Afrikaans en Xhosa myself praat, so asseblief. Hulle sal self dan hulle gaan verduidelik.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hi. So we are 4IM. We are South Africa's first ever T-pop girl band.
My sis.
A little bit about T-pop is we created our own genre with our then company, Hichat Entertainment. T-pop is township pop. So it's pop music for the generation of today. 4IM stands for Fourth Industrial Age Music, which means music for the next generation. So unfortunately, we are a bit half today. So we couldn't give a full-on performance, but we would still like to tell you what 4IM is all about.
Basically, 4IM is about uplifting women, first things first. We work mainly with girls and boys. We are focusing on uplifting young people through art. Because trust me, where I live, there are tons and tons of children that are looking for opportunities to dance. It doesn't have to take budget for you to give a kid a chance, for you to spark that fire. Because there was a day whereby I was walking around the streets and I was like, you know what? Join my class for free. And I was amazed on how much they were inspired and how much I emphasized their dreams that they can actually come true. Because when we tell our parents that we want to be superstars, oh my goodness, it's a problem. Uzofunda nini? When are you going to study? Because sometimes it's because of lack of knowledge. Ne? That is why 4IM is here. To not only uplift young people, but to educate elderly people that art is important, that art should be taken seriously by the government. That's why we're actually thankful for parties like PMC that support the entertainment industry. Because the entertainment industry is what runs the country. The music is what influences what you buy and what you wear and what you drink. That is 4IM. Thank you.
So, my name is Kekeleto Franz. My stage name is Giselle. I'm from the Free State. All of them in the band are from Cape Town. And I'm from Free State. I moved here because I wanted to pursue music. And I was studying in the University of Free State, BCom, specializing in marketing, and I dropped out. My mother was not okay, but she said because she also got an opportunity. I come from a family that is very talented. And because she also got an opportunity one day, and her parents said she must not do it. She said, I'm not gonna let you not do it because I think the only way you can succeed is to get a degree and go work. Everyone has, so there are a lot of people who have degrees, but they are not working. There are a lot of them. So 4IM, for people who don't know us, 4IM is very famous on TikTok. We're very famous on TikTok. And so far we have performed at Cape Town Festive Lights, DSTV Festival in Mitchell's Plain. We have 13 songs out that have few music videos that are appearing on MTV Base, Channel O, and Trace, yes. And we have also performed for Mampumzile Mlambonguka. She was the Deputy President of South Africa and also former executive director of the United Nations Women. So today we came here just to ask people to support 4IM as we almost disbanded because our company that signed us told us they don't have funding for us anymore. But because of PMC, we are back on our feet. So at this moment, we were just trying to say, can anyone who has TikTok, please go and follow 4IM on TikTok. Thank you so much.
Just before that, tell the story of how many TikTok followers you guys have.
Oh, on TikTok, we have 116.7 or 2,000. Yes. Yes.
And also, how did you guys, tell us about the house and how did you guys, what type of training did you get?
Okay, in 2020, the company that signed us wanted 5 girls to be in a band. So we were chosen, the 5 of us, the others are not here. And we lived in one house together. They provided food, clothes, everything for us. The only thing that we had to do is to wake up in the morning, and we got a vocal coach and a choreographer, so they taught us the music techniques and dancing techniques every day for 2 years. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So they put out a video that they're saying they're closing down. Because, and 2 is from Kailicha, 2 from Kells River and 1 from Philippi. The 2 that's not here today, where's Justin, by the way? The 2 that's, just ask him to come up. The 2 that's not here is actually having to go and now work. So 1, for example, is gonna, for the next month, is gonna work at a call center or train. So what gaan gebeur is, hulle gaan nou hulle krag verloor as a team. So what we are calling on all of you, and I know Randall, jy weet mos ek is 'n man wat mense vra, hulp vra. So this is a group that, yes, my other companies got equipment and all that, but my team are more docu-style people. Maar hier's 'n groep wat goed is. And we want them to go and tell their story. So I hope that many of us done the club here, and I'm asking you to help us to partner with them. Okay, thanks so much. Thanks so much. Thank you. Then Justin.
Okay, hi, hello. Okay, so my name is Justin Peters, and I was recently on a reality TV show called Big Brother. And basically what led me to this show was I grew up in a very small community in the Eastern Cape, and there are no opportunities at all for us. I matriculated in 2019, and pretty much for a whole year and a half, almost 2 years, I was sitting at home unemployed. And yeah, I saw that they were having auditions for this show and took a shot, auditioned, went for it, and I made it onto the show. And leading up to that show was really, really difficult. I was living at home, myself, my dad were the only people in the house working, and I ended up losing my job before going on to the show. So, yeah, leading up to that, I pretty much had to go through the audition process, which was really, really tough. And for 2 weeks prior to going into the show, was in isolation, and within that time I had a lot of time to sit and think to myself, and life for people from small spaces, small communities, we've got all the odds stacked against us. And no one's gonna ever come to you and hand you an opportunity. So I think it is up to us to reach out to each other, help each other out, and try to make a better way for ourselves and for our communities. Yeah, thank you so much.
Give him another hand of applause, please.
Justin ke lo bethuna naye besicacisela nje ngohambo lwakhe ne-challenges azifaceleyo kuze afikelele kule ndawo akuyo namhlanje. Uthi uJustin ungowase-Eastern Cape, usuke Eastern Cape, akacacisanga ke uba ndawoni, but ungowase-Eastern Cape, and as uba nathi sisazi abantu bamnyama e-Eastern Cape amathuba awekho at all. So uthi uJustin ke as uba ebestrugglisha e-Eastern Cape, uye wangenela ke le show kuthiwa ngu-Big Brother. And as ba ebengenele bekungekho lula bezininzi challenges, but uye wazama i-auditions zakhe bezi for 2 weeks, but kula 2 weeks uye waphumelela wafikelela kule ndawo akuyo bethunana. Thank you.
Okay, now there's a reason why we're starting to show you this. The idea is we do not want just to be a normal political party. Because a normal political party is not focusing, and I know because I come from that space, it's not focusing at times. We speak politics of arts, but we don't get the people themselves to lead the process. So that's part of our intention. Amanda, was Amanda? Die koi noi. Was Amanda? Nee, die Amanda niet. Amanda. Kan Amanda vorentoe kom? Dis is 'n digter en sy sal ook kortliks haar storie vertel. And we're asking, ek dink julle maak net seker dat die sound, die backtrack, en dan terwyl hulle dit reg kry, gaan ek dan net vra vir Chief Reagan. Chief Reagan, waar is u? Chief Reagan. Hy was hier, ek het hom hier gesien. I don't see Chief Reagan now. Then, as meneer Raymond Fransman net gou kan kom, we're going to now ask each one literally just to give 1 minute short inputs, essentially either endorsements or the key issues. Now Raymond, is that, and then I'll give a little bit of longer time for Puleng Makoto.
Goeiemiddag almal. My naam is Raymond Fransman. Ek is voorsitter van Paarl East Thusong Centre. Ek was gevra om so 'n paar feite oor veiligheid te bring. Sorry. Ja. Order.
Can we ask the team at the back to just please, the poll organizers, please just ask people to remain now quiet, and that and I understand completely because they a little lang gesit, so dat daar net stilte is as hy gaan praat nou.
Ja. Hierdie naweek was Paarl East weer getref. Ons het 5 jong mense verloor met moorde. 5 verskillende areas. En dit is een moord is klaar te veel. En dit is die reality wat nou op die oomblik aangaan. En as ons nou kyk na die 5 wat dood is nie groot mense soos nie, is jong seuns tussen die ouderdom van 17 en 20 wat vermoor word. En dit is die reality wat aangaan nou op die oomblik in die lewe. Ek het nou 'n paar plantjies wat hier gehad het. Dit is dat kinders, ons seuns en ons dogters wil nie, as hy gaan skool toe, dan bly hy eerder weg van die skool af. Maar nou gaan hy nie huis toe nie, nou gaan sit hy op die hoekie van die straat. En dan raak hy betrokke by dwelms, hy begin by en hy gaan. Nou môre moet hy sy dwelm probleem satisfy. Nou wat gaan hy doen? Hy gaan moord. Hy gaan roof. Hy gaan ander mense beroof om sy needs te bevredig. En ek vra dat ons mense, dat ons het baie probleme in Paarl Oos met jong mense. Dit is hoekom die polisieforum, ek het nou ondersteuning gekry van my kollega wat nou so pas van 'n maats in Groenewil kom, waar daar die mense nou gesê het, genoeg is genoeg. Ek meen ons om soveel kinders te verloor is hartseer. Ek wil my simpatie oordra aan die ouers van daardie kinders. Dis hoekom ons 'n veiligheidsplan vir Paarl Oos opgestel het. Die veiligheidsplan sal binnekort sal dit beskikbaar wees aan die inwoners. En ons wil graag die inwoners van Paarl Oos vra, raak betrokke by die subforum. Ons is al besig om subforums in elke sektor te stel waar ons as gemeenskap kan naderkom en dingetjies kan bespreek saam met ons. Ons bring die polisie, ek sê altyd, ek bring die polisie geskit saam. En dan kom praat jy vir die polisie, wat doen julle? Hoe gaan julle vir ons help om Paarl Oos 'n veiliger area te maak? En dan gaan ons Paarl ons as polisieforum is die buffer mos nou tussen die polisie en die gemeenskap. Maar dan, soos my kollega aan my nou gevra het, hy het my net gevra dat ons moet enige ding aanmeld. Ek kry vanoggend toe ek nou hier afstap hierna toe praat iemand nou van my, toe wys of ek weet, want hulle het 'n gun afgevat by iemand vandag. En dit is die reality. Maar dit is die goedjies wat hier bring is. Kinders skiet, is nie groot mense wat skiet nie, is jong kindertjies wat rondhardloop met guns. En ons as gemeenskap, as u weet waar daar 'n gun of 'n vuurwapen of wat daar is, u kan anoniem bly. U kan met my kontak maak, u kan met Bezel kontak maak, u kan met enige ene kontak maak en sê kykie, daar in Klipbokstraat, nommer 12, daar word guns aangehou. Daardie informasie sal ons deurgee aan die polisie om daardie guns van die pad af te kry. Want ons kan nie meer so lewe nie. Ander een wat ek wil graag sê is dat hoeveel al is 'n saakie, hoe klein. Ek haal my hoed af vir Lucinda. Hoeveel baie mense word verkrag. Maar dan word hy mos nou omgepraat om nie daardie verkragting sake te wees nie. U as 'n vriendin of 'n vriend kan ook kom sê, daar my vriendin was verkrag, sodat ons daardie goedjies van die ook kan deel kan wees, dat ons daai saakies kan ondersoek.
Baie dankie.
Dit is maar net vir een ding is wat ek sê, graag wil ek ook hê dat indien die polisie met optredes besig is, vra ons vir die gemeenskap om nie voertuie te gooi nie, want een voertuig se ruit word uit te gooi, hy's 'n maand buite aksie. So as u die polisie bel, dan is daar nie 'n voertuig nie. Baie dankie.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Utata ke lobegqibothetha ebethetha malunga nento edibene ne-community safety. Uthi kule weekend sisuka kuyo bayi-5 abantu abatsha abaswelekileyo. Uthi futhi ayikho mnandi lento because ayingobantu badala, ngabantu abatsha aba from ages 17 years to 20 years. And uthi yenzeka lonto apha kule ndawo. So uthi thina nje ngabantu be-community sidlala indima because abantwana zifamily zethu. Ngokhazini bethu, ngobrother bethu, siyabazi abantu abaphatha izikhali endlini, siyabazi abantu abahamba ngegane endlini but asibareport. So uthi uyacela sisebenzisane namapolisa xa kwenzeke icrime noba wena mntu ikwehleleyo lento uyoyika but mhlawumbe umakazi wakho angakuthethela okanye umama wakho angakuthethela okanye itshomi yakho ingakuthethela masingathulini masiziripoteni ezinto. Enkosi.
Thanks. Amanda, is jy reg nou? Give Mr. Fransman another hand of applause, please. So this is the next person after Amanda would be Ms. Mpukoto, and then Chief Reagan, and then Ivan Esquire. Hoe bedoel je swak? Okay, maar kan ons maar proberen. Ja.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Oeh, kan ik maar die boek hier?
Wil je die gebruiken?
Ja, ik moet die boek gebruiken. My name is Amanda Lewis Stone, and I call myself the Koinoi. This country needs change. And I'm here today in Paarl, and I'm a songwriter and a singer, of course. And I wrote this poem about for David Kruiper. How many of you know David Kruiper in here? Let me see the hands. This can't be. This can't be. There's one thing that I've learned, that we have to respect our ancestors. That's why South Africa is like this.
Oh, yes.
Because we disrespect our ancestors. En David Kruiper is die groot gees van die Khoi daar in die Kalahari. Put the song Sarki Bartman on for me, the music, please. Sarki Bartman.
Jy kan hier ook.
Nee, ek kan dit nie. Beter. Sarki Bartman. Guys. Can there be silence? Because we're singing about, I'm going to the spirit world and tell you about David Kruiper. David Kruiper. Ek hoor jy sê, jy hoor 'n stem uit die rots met jou praat. Onmiddellik vang my en mamma's oor jou woordsgeklank. Ons weet toe in ons siel, jy oom David Kruiper, praat 'n engelprofesietaal. Oom David Kruiper, want wie is 'n rots buiten ons God? Toe hy groep het ons voorouers hom genoem, wat beteken on wounded knees. O, ons voorvaders bitter galswater, bitter stories lê nog sommer diep weggebere in plasse van bloedspore van waarheid. Ek weet oom David Kruiper, ek weet jy vertel alles nou vir God. Oom David Kruiper, seun van die rooi duine, jou gistermens siel straal nog steeds sonstrale van wysheid van bo. Dit is in ons harte vasgepen met oorborrelende liefde. O, die bitter al stories In die gehuil van ons voorouers breek ons harte nog steeds in stukke van twee. Oom David Kruiper sê, o Amanda, die reeldans waar die kinders so dans. Weet jy, hulle vertel vir julle 'n storie. Met elke stoftrap, vastrap, maak hulle God wakker en herinner hulle hom van ons leed en pyn. Dit is ons rooi bruin sandkorrel stoftaal, ons geheime taal met God. Dit is wanneer die kinders oor die stof trap, dan connect die aarde met God. Oom David Kruiper, die kruiegere, die boegoe, oom David se wortel, die wynryk en munt hang oor ons soos vaandels van 'n amandelbloeiselblom. Want God het ons in sy wynhuis ingebring, want sy vaandel oor ons was die liefde. Oom David Kruiper, jy is nou 'n engelkind mens. En ons brand ons hotnotskooi goedsgeure tot eer van God. O, oom David Kruiper, ons bemin u. Jou voetspoor gestap binne in die Kalahari is almal net letsels van wysheid van goud wat vir ewig vasgelê is in elke rooi duinkorrelsand. O, oom David Kruiper sê, ek roep nog steeds uit my graf. Hy soek na geregtigheid. Hy sê, o Amanda, my sielemens kind, ek is hier omring net van engele. Ons is almal spierwit gekleed en bloedrooi gewas. O my leliekind mens, my Khoisan kind mens, my Boesman kind, wag op God. Oom David Kruiper sê, my stammekind mens, hou vas aan ons voorouers lydingstories. Gaan soek hulle bedere, dit lê soms so oral in ons land rond. Oom David Kruiper sê, hulle wegkruipplekke was by die leeu's en met die luiperde. Toe die vyande hulle so kom uitmoor, hier van oor die see kom, dan word die Boesman mense doodgemaak. Die vraag is waarom? Hou vas aan julle grond, want dit is julle erfenis. Hou vas aan julle voorouertale, want dit is julle siel en gees. Hou vas aan die kruiegere, want God het dit aan die Boesman mense gegee en dit dien as genesingsmiddel. Oom David Kruiper, I thank you.
Baie dankie. Geef haar nog 'n handeklap asseblief. I'm now going to ask the leader of TPM, the People's Movement, to come forward and to also share their vision and what their plans are. Give a hand of applause, please.
Goeiemiddag allemaal. Goeiemiddag allemaal. Moloeni. Tumelang. Tumelang. Salam alaikum. Amandla. Amandla. Awethu. Where to? Power to the people. Power to the people. That's it, do it still. Thank you so much. My name is Puleng. Ek is drietalig. It means I speak 3 languages. I speak Setswana, I speak English, and I speak Afrikaans. My mother's Khoisan. Dankie. My mother's Khoisan. And my father is Zulu. And I went to a Tswana school. So there's a yellow mengsel. I just want to put a bit of context to who we are. We are the People's Movement. Previously, in 2019, we registered in the city of Cape Town as Democratic People's Movement. But in 2023, we changed our name. We registered nationally with the IEC, and we will be contesting the 2024 elections. Because the election of 2024 belongs to the women. The election of 2024 belongs to the youth. The election of 2024 belongs to the poor in this country. This is the election 30 years after our democracy. Sukkel ons mense nog steeds. 30 years after our democracy, our people remain poor. It cannot be right. 30 years after our democracy, the women in our country they are under attack. The women in our country are dying every single day. If you didn't know what femicide is the killing of women and girl children. Just because you are a woman or a girl child, that's femicide. Every day in this country, women die. Every single day. Some of the cases are reported, some of the cases are not reported. Unemployment is the worst in our communities. Our people are suffering. Our people don't have access to land. We should have hospitals in our communities. Is ek reg of verkeerd? We should have hospitals in our communities. You shouldn't have to be sent from pillar to post. You can't be helped here. You must go to Groote Schuur, or you must go to wherever else. You must have a hospital or a clinic in your community. Our children must have access to free quality education. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? We need free quality education for our children. That is the only way that we will free this country. We will never. I need to share something with you that politicians don't share with you. Did you know that the graduates in this country, the kids who come from universities and from technicons, did you know that they are the smallest percentage of unemployed in the country? The smallest percentage. Did you know this? The people who are unemployed are people who never went to a university, the majority of them. So if we want to change the story of our country, we want to change the story of our children, we want to change the future of this country, our children need access to free, quality education. So let me come to the point. The Honorable Marius Fransman has invited me to come and speak here today. I also want to speak on the issue of the importance of working together. Ons moet saamwerk, mense. If we don't work together, we are faced with 3 devils here. 3 devils. The ANC, the DA, and the EFF. Those are the people who are keeping us backward. In order for us to truly find freedom, we must come together. We must look at what is wrong within our communities and fix the system. Amanda! Where to? Power to the people. Vote TPM. My leader said I must not say vote TPM. I must not look for votes. So look out for us. If we're saying the right thing, please follow us. Amanda!
You're sitting with a leader that's not scared for any other political party. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Cool. So, thanks so much, Puleng. I think we're getting closer to the end. Food is getting ready. And then we'll just have general entertainment. But I think what you are seeing is a process. What we need is people that see what we do, and you must now in your community go and have this, and we will be part of and support your process. Mr. Ivan Heskwa, that's, I think, representing the arts sector of this region. If he can say a few words, please. And then the lady that's doing Nosipo, if you can do the translations, please. Ne? Oh, sorry. Thanks.
Goeiemiddag. Goeiemiddag. My naam is Ivan Heskwa. Ek is ook 'n Heskwa tribe van die Heskwa tribe. Die Heskwa munisipaliteit. So ek gaan Afrikaans praat en ek hoop hier's 'n bekwame lady wat kan translate. As ons praat oor art and culture, dan is art and culture ek en jy. Jy is gebore met art en jy is gebore met culture. Dit is 'n baie belangrike ding. As jy dit nie verstaan nie, dan gaan jy baie swaar kry want jy kan nie jouself ontdek nie. Dit is moeilik om jouself te ontdek as jy nie weet wat kan jy doen en wie is jy nie. Nou, ek het 'n groot gedeelte van my lewe het ek in Namibië deurgebring. In Namibië deurgebring. Omdat ek musical aangelê is. Niemand het my enige musiek geteach nie. Ek is musical aangelê, vanaf 3 jaar oud maak ek musiek en so aan. Hier's 'n paar van hulle wat my ken hier binne, die dinge wat ek kan doen in music, en dit is hoekom ek vandag hier kan staan natuurlik. Daar's 'n paar dinge wat my kwel as dit kom by art en culture. Dat art en culture kry nie sy eie reg in ons gemeenskappe nie. Dis wat ek dink maar. Ek weet nie of daar te veel politiek is binne in art en culture nie, maar dit lyk vir my asof dit nie die reg kry nie. Ons artiste word nie betaal soos dit moet betaal word nie. Stem julle saam? Die rede hoekom die drug addiction en die rowery so groot is, as gevolg van, daar word nie aandag geskenk aan sangers en mense wat kan goed aard en so aan nie. Dis 'n groot probleem. En as die DA en die ANC en EFF misluk het, dan hoop ek die mense wat agter my sit, neem vreeslik notisie daarvan. Want ons mense is cultural mense. As ek nou die real dance gekyk het hiervoor, dit is eie aan die kooi en sand. Ek is 'n verskriklike kooi. Maar ek het opgegroei saam met swart mense op Nederburg plaas, net die ander kant. Ek het opgegroei tussen hulle. 'n tyd wat ek nooit in my lewe sal vergeet nie. Dit maak deel uit van myself. Ek is aan Kosas opgegroei back in the day, in die 70s. En dis hoekom ek 'n mens is. So as ek sê Drakensberg het geneglect, dan sê ek het geneglect. As gevolg van ons genius artists wat hulle toekom nie. My seun, hulle Fransman, my seun is vir 6 jaar, is hy een van die beste dansers in die Weskaap. Kan nie werk kry. Hy kan nie werk kry nie. Hy's 'n akteur, maar hy kan nie werk kry nie. Dis 'n probleem. En ek hoop PMC kan 'n verskribbeling in die nasie. Nog 'n ding, amper ten laaste. As die communities meer ag gee op julle kinders wat goed is in enige aard, of het sing, of het dans, of jy kan teken, dan gaan alles gaan afkom. Die crime gaan afkom. Want julle skenk aandag aan iets wat die jeug kan vorentoe vat. Dis 'n baie belangrike ding. As ons nie aandag aan gee nie, kom ek praat gewoon net oor Janine wat hier so sit. Wanneer ons nie aandag gee aan sang nie, En as ons nie support kry nie, soos ek wat 'n sanger is, as daar nie support is en die saal lyk so nie, en 1, 2, 3 mense, dan is dit 'n verskriklike teleurstelling. As die event van vandag nie so suksesvol was nie, dan het hulle gefaal. Is dit so? Dan het hulle gefaal. Maar ek sien daar was goed bemarking gedoen. En ek hoop PMC gaan dit van vandag af so sien, omdat ek verskriklik travel in ons land in Namibia, Botswana en Angola. Omdat ek so baie travel, is dit baie hartskerend vir my om te sien. Daar word nie aandag aan aard en culture so baie geskenk nie. En ek hoop ons communities kan ons artisse kan support. Kan ek afsluit? Ek gaan afsluit. Ek het 'n skool, Levi's Art and Music Academy. Ek werk met probleemkinders. Ek doen brainstimulasie vir hulle wat nie kan goed studeer nie. Hulle wat drug addicts is. Hulle wat withdrawn personalities, hyperactive. Glad nie dom kinders nie. Maar daar's iets in hulle environment of in hulle brein wat hulle stuur, dat hulle nie kan vorder nie. En autistiese kinders het traumas en so aan. So ek doen 'n brain music stimulasie vir dit. So ek doen my gedeelte, my skool is ook in Namibia. En is ook current as hy geregistreer hier so in Suid-Afrika. So ek travel natuurlik verskriklik baie om te kyk, hoe kan ek 'n kind help in sy art en culture om vorentoe te gaan. So ek hoop PMC ons kan na 'n toekoms uitkyk om te kyk hoe kan ons dinge oorbrug. Nee, thank you.
Ivan?
Ndibambe phana pha ke apho utata bethetha khona because zinintsi into azithethileyo. Kodwa into ebalulekileyo nento agxininise kuyo is that ii-artists azi-appreciatwa. So ucela si-appreciate ii-artists zethu. Uthi into yokubana unonyana ebehamba phambili kwezomdaniso, like ebeyi-best dancer for iminyaka eyi-6, kodwa unyana wakhe bengakwazi ufumana msebenzi. So le nto yinto ebuhlungu bethu nana, and uthi the reason why i-crime, the reason why into ze-drugs zisanda kwiilokishi zethu emakhayeni ethu is because thina bazali, thina zifemeli asibasapoti abantwana. Ngenxa yoba siswela ulwazi, sisoloko sisithi hayi man yiye esikolweni wena okanye hayi hambosebenza wena singayisapoti italente yomntana. Ngenye ixesha umntana unetalente yocula, ngenye ixesha umntana unetalente yo-actor. Qha thina bazali abantwana asibasapoti, so ucela sisapoti abantwana. Uthi ke unezikolo ke ezimbini eNamibia nalapha eSouth Africa apho encedisa khona abantwana abahlukumezekileyo ngokwengqondo, ezama ubanceda, ezama ubafundisa umculo nokudanisa. So ucela sisapoteni i-art bethunana. Enkosi.
Thank you. Can I have Shlumelo Jeke coming forward, and as well as Setu Ngoyana? Where are they? Okay. Give them a big hand of applause, please. Now they are, and please, because I see a practice, if your first language is Xhosa, you speak English. So speak isiXhosa so that we can then get the translation in Afrikaans. Hello. So this is the juniors. They will introduce themselves. So just give a message to the young people, but also indicate who you are and what heights did you get to.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Setu Ngoyana. I'm from Kukuletu, Cape Town. I'm the member of the National Men's Parliament. I've been hearing, or people asking me, what is National Men's Parliament? It is a new parliament that was invented after the high rise of GBV in our country. We don't discuss politics there. No, we don't. It's all about gender-based violence. But before I go further, I will let her introduce herself first, then I'll tell what we do there.
Afternoon, everybody. Sorry, I'm so nervous, I'm sorry. My name is Hlumelo Jeke. I'm from Crossroads in Cape Town. I am the new 2023 Junior City Council of Cape Town. I'll tell you briefly about Junior City Council. So as a Junior City Council, you personally take your emotions, not just your emotions, but physically. You work to actually assist where our communities need assistance in. So, as you guys know, in our communities there's a lot of crime. And in my application form, they asked what would I do for my sub-council. One thing that I thought about is crime. I told them that we could go to a hotspot area where there is a lot of crime and actually talk to boys, because crime is mostly done by boys. So we talked to the boys about good lifestyle choices that they would choose. Because of a lot of crime in our areas, we don't actually kind of feel the freedom. Okay, so because of these things that are happening in our areas, we don't actually kind of feel free to express ourselves, do whatever we want to do, because we are scared. Not everyone has freedom, because we are obviously scared of what would happen, what people would say, what people would do, you know? So as the Junior City Council, I am here to help the youth, not just the youth, but people in general, elders, and inform them and let them know that whatever happens, we are here, and not just here to stay, but here to assist where they need assistance in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah? Okay. So I joined PMC earlier this year. You know, it was introduced to me by a guy who left the movement. I don't think I must mention his name. You know, it was a little bit harder for me because he introduced me here. Now he leaves me. So it came to my mind that what am I going to do? Must I leave also or must I stay? Then Niaz, with his support, I decided to stay. I'm staying here because what my ideology it is about, it is what this movement is all about. You know, we need to fight for the young people. We need to represent the young people to the upper stages because young people are voiceless. And they're not here. It's only old people that are here. Most of the young people are at the streets, drinking alcohol, partying, doing all of the stuff. They're not keen to take part in serious stuff. We need, as young people that are here, we need to change the mentality of other young people. They must take part in organizations like this. How are we going to do that? By joining movements that are all about people. You know, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We basically are wrapping up, but there are two individuals. The people that is, because there's people that's working night shift from Kailicha, I just want to make sure that they've been informed that the food is there at the back, so that as they leave, they can take something. Chief Reagan, I called you out earlier. I hope you are now inside. Come, please. Can I ask Chief Reagan? Can I also ask Alfreda Pusak? And I'm going to ask Zoliswa Zozo not to speak now. She's going to do the vote of thanks, right? Just in terms of our timing now. Can I get Alfreda and Chief Reagan to come forward? I'm going to ask, Setu spoke, so Niaz is not necessary. And I think Marina Jafter, if you can come up. I'm going to ask each of you just to really be short and just to make the key points, but here it is. They just inform us. I also think the organizers should have told us their load shedding is at 4. They've just told us now, basil them. So I also, those that knows me, I'm getting very irritated if I've been told things at the late moment. Chief Reagan, over to you. Also introduce yourself, please.
Hi sis, kan siya po Chiloche. Mijn naam is Chief Reagan. Ik behoort in de Katskorana Royalists. Ik is ook de voorzitter van die fishing organization, called Small Scale Fishing Organization. Ik wil maar net de communities meedeel en wat de proces is in de fishing communities. Wat ons fishing departments challenge rondom ons indigenous rights.
Ja, ja.
Ons is bezig om een small scale policy wat ons geskryf het 17 jaar terug. As maar nou eers wat het nou in werking gekom het. Government.
Sorry, Chief. We're going to ask Sheila, everyone that's outside SG, because we know that there was 2 people that came to them because they were working at the garage in Kalicha. But no one is going to get food unless they come from within the hall. So if you can just basically ask the people to come in, and then because we are wrapping now out, and then those that have to leave first to Kalicha, then they will be allowed then first to just go for it. But we're going to ask people to come in now. Okay, sorry for that.
En dan is ons ook bezig om ons visseregte terug te kry vir ons vissinggemeenskappe. Ek dink baie jare terug het big companies weggekom met baie dinge. Hulle het die regte gevat van ons voorouers weggevat, alles het hulle gevat. Maar het kos vir die vissinggemeenskappe rondom die Weskaap om saam te gestaan het, om 'n policy neer te geskryf het vir government. Laat ons besit vandag met 'n small scale mansie wat ons sê ons bestuur het, ons doen self marketing, ons doen self exporting as vissergemeenskappe. Dan is ons ook besig om ons eie gronde rondom in ons communities wat oop lê en ons vat dit terug en ons gee dit vir ons gemeenskap vir mense wat in die agtergrond dekdeel is en almal hy bring ons terug uit. En ons sê, daar's 'n stuk land vir jou, vat dit vir jou, as behoort aan jou. Ek is nie 'n persoon wat baie praat nie, maar ek is 'n persoon wat baie doen. Ek is, soos ek spesiaal sê, ek is die leier van die fishing organisation in die Weskaap. Ons het ook 'n groot baklei as vissinggemeenskappe, ook as sperelgemeenskap. Van 'n glad nie net die gemeenskap, vissinggemeenskappe rondom die kus raak het, maar dit raak vir ons almal wat ons besig is om vir total dit sal langs wat wil olie en gas uit ons seewater uithaal teenoor se wil. Hulle kom jy sê vir ons vra, mag ons dit doen of kan ons dit doen nie? Maar hy is almal iets langs is wat ons sit binne die vissinggemeenskappe. Hy gaan gans.
Thank you so much. Give the chief another hand of applause, please. Okay. It is Alfreda Busak. Yeah. Alfreda.
Afternoon, people. I'm grateful and honored to be in the presence of greatness. Thank you, everybody, to make me part of history to this afternoon. I owe each one of you. I owe each one of you. I won't forget those who were before me. In 1994, I went to vote for a better life for all. Almost 30 years later, we are sitting with the biggest problem, load shedding. The incoming president, Mr. Marius Fransman, daar buite is niks weekie. Niks. Mr. Marius Fransman, dat mense wat hierdie 350 wil hê nie, ons vat dit, omdat ons het die weekie. Mr. Marius Fransman, the working class, ek hoop net u vergiet u van hulle nie. Ons het die ANC gebring aan wat hulle is, hulle totally vergiet van ons. Ons was nie te wit nie, ons was nie te swart nie. Ek weet nie wat gaat ons wees vir die PMC nie. This is our incoming president, people. 350 is nie vir ons nie. Daar's party wat dit nie wil hê nie, maar ons moet dit vat. Van the working class, we don't have jobs. I'm grateful and honored to be part of history. Thank you very much, people.
Goedemiddag allemaal, ik is Frida Busak, member van Saslo Society for Labor Law, verteenwoordiging in die CCMA as ook die arbeidsgeleenthede. Om te begin wil ek sê dat die plaaslike afdelings, as ek verwys na plaaslike, praat ek van landbougebied, en die challenges wat ons het op die plase is evictions, En dan is dit die misdaad en geweld teen vroue en kinders. Dan is dit die plaasmoorde op plaaseienaars, die verkoop en koop van plase, wat natuurlijk gepaard gaan met die ongoing concern. En omdat die CCMA nie jurisdiksie het vir uitsettings wat evictions is nie, maak het vir ons baie moeilik om die gedeelte in die land in te kan verbied of om daardie issue te reis. Dan is dit die een gedeelte van ons mense, veral as ek kyk na die plaaslike afdelings, dan ons mense is nie saam as dit kom by support nie. Die een issue van die rural development is die misdaad en geweld in onze communities, die bende geweld wat voortgaan en hand uitruk, die missingness van die polisie, die non-support van die community leaders. En ek verwys na spesifieke mense, as iemand 'n skoen vandag wil aantrek, dan trek jy die skoen aan. Maar ek besef dat as ons in leierskap staan, het ons verantwoordelikheid towards ons community. My versoek vandag aan u in hierdie kamer is dat, sou u keuse maak om volgende jaar te stem, laat u keuse 'n verskil maak in u se kind se lewe. Laat u keuse 'n verskil maak in hulle wat nog moet gebore word. Ek besef vandag dat as ek kyk in hierdie saal, en ons is so baie mense, en dit wat ons binne in ons het, is binne in ek en u, wat ek en u alleenlik kan opsluit. Ek en jy het die krag, en ons het die mag om oop en toe te kan sluit vandag. Of het môre is, of het volgende jaar is, so ek wil vir u vandag sê, dat as u sê, u is meer as 'n oorwinnaar, soos baie van julle moet sê, dan hoekom sit jy met 'n ding wat jy nie gebruik nie? En hoekom laat ons aan toe, dat ons ten alle tye nie vir ons self kan sê, dat ons kan 'n verandering bring in dit wat vandag nie vandag so lekker lyk nie. Because you're going to make the change next year. You the people who must be there and said that if you saw that other people they was not like you want them to be in with. En as die mense wat jy gekies het nie was wat hulle moet wees nie, dan het jy die reg om vir iemand te sê, like look, jy het nie so goed gedoen nie, maar ek sal nie weer my vote vir dieselfde mense gaan gee nie. So maak seker waar jy is 'n krisis trek. Ek sê nie vote vir CDR nie, maar omdat ek deel vorm van CDR, obviously moet ek sê, ek sal verkies vote CDR.
Hartlike goeiemiddag aan almal. Ek is gevra om te praat namens ECD. Nou ECD staan vir Early Childhood Development.
En wat is die naam?
Okay, ek is Marina Jafta. Juffrou Jafta, soos wat talwyde se kinders my ken. 2021 klaargemaak daar en besluit om my eie skooltjie by die huis te begin. En dit is waar die probleme begin. So vandag het ek gesels oor spesifiek dat dit is so moeilik dat wanneer jy 'n verskil in die gemeenskap wil maak, dat daar mense is in posisies wat nie regtig daar is vir ons as ons gemeenskap nie. En wat dinge in plek sit sodat ons nie op die regte platform kan wees en kan doen wat ons wil doen nie of moet doen nie. Nou toe ek klaar maak met skool het ek gesê dat ek het baie probleme ondervind met kinders wat nie stimulasie gekry het op vroeë skoolontwikkeling nie.